There are 6 things that I hate, and this is the internet. And this is my show. It feels odd saying that. But there are 6 things that are killing America. And so the theme is 6-7, because the other thing I just detest is that these things are killing America. Vanity is the very first one. We'll start with how I'm vain, so we can get a grand idea of what vanity is, because sometimes we think vanity is staring vainly into the bathroom mirror at our appearance, when in truth, vanity is how we behold ourselves in our eye. This isn't some Catholic teaching. This is just good sense. I'm not Catholic. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Vanity's our image. So we want to be seen. It's who we want to be seen as. And I have been very vain over the course of my life. It's not a women's problem. I've got smoke for everybody, because you have to punch this up and keep it entertaining. But vanity really affects yours truly. I've lost a lot of good things in this life to vanity. I've lost relationships I wish I had back. I've lost opportunities that I cost myself. I've done things that, frankly, I'm quite ashamed of having done. I've been a false teacher. You see, there's 6 things that I hate. Vanity leads to them. Again, this isn't some Catholic wishy-wash. This is good sense. I have a prop. Props are kind of kitsch. They're kind of before '08. I'll let you nosh on that for a minute. You see, this is a red flag. The first rung here is vanity, and it's what's ruining the nation. I'm vain in that I want things that aren't due to me. The old condemn us with that sometimes, but maybe I truly haven't worked hard enough, or maybe I've just been a minch my entire. I'm not Jewish. It's a good word, though. No, honestly, these 6 really piss me off. They grind my gears. They irritate me. Women are incredibly vain. Women suffer from vanity. It prevents them from having marriages and kids and happy families. Young men are incredibly vain when they give up in apathy, unwilling to go through the arduous trudge that is their lives, and so they give up on their lives. The old folks are incredibly vain. About half of the federal budget goes to taking care of them, and they're very unconcerned with what happens to you. That's a vague generalization, but we got to throw the culture wars in there to really pump this up. You see, Toy Story is a great example of vanity. You've got Buzz Lightyear. He buys into his own marketing. He buys into his press release. He believes the hype. He's a manufactured product. And then he jumps from a high place thinking he can fly. He falls. And because he's somebody's plaything, which most of us don't want to be, well, then he doesn't break every bone in his body. You and I are people. And so if we set ourselves up on a high shelf and we fall from that, it'll wreck us. It'll be our undoing. They call that your downfall. There's another character in Toy Story. He's got a big, oversized head for his body. His name's Woody, and he's vain about stuff that's true. Woody's vain about how everybody likes him, how he's Andy's favorite. Woody's vain about the fact that he's a leader, that he's got admiration. Messes him up pretty bad when the world reneges on what Woody sees it as owing him. I was at the bar this summer. No, a couple summers ago. And I'm sitting at the bar, and a gaggle of gals comes in, and they assemble, like the Avengers, and like women do at a bar when they're kicking off an evening. And one of them's trying to goad the other ones into leaving. And she says, there aren't any handsome guys in here. There's no cute dudes. There's no one attractive. Rude thing to say about an entire crowd of folk. And she turns right over to me, and I'm enjoying this sandwich. It's a very good sandwich. They don't have them anymore. They're a smoked Swiss, like ham and cheese, but it's peanut butter barbecue sauce and bacon jam. And kind of a rare treat. I wouldn't pay for this sandwich very often. It's in one of those restaurants where there's kind of 2 kinds of bad restaurants, but we'll get into that. No. This woman turns to me and she says, no offense. She says, somebody once told me, if you can't find a woman that's satisfied, or if a woman can't find a man she's satisfied with, and let him lead, she will trample whatever man she gets a hold of and demasculate him. Vanity is everywhere. Why would you say that to somebody? What's the goal? Every crazy lie you've ever heard was in service of somebody's vanity. Drum them up, make them big. Whether it's, I trolled these idiots, or I sounded smarter, people think that, or it covers this up. That's how we get to lying. We had a nice high-trust society, a real good one, until Karen came along. I'll explain Karen real quick. You see, Karen's a product of being sat down on Daddy's knee and told she can be anything she wants to be, so long as she's as tough as the boys. And a lot of young men will go into a job place and meet a Karen for the first time, and they're kind of repulsed by what feminism works out to be, but they learn a good lesson, which is how HR works, how office politics works, and that's important for the youth. It immunizes them against autocracy, because you go to a lot of jobs and it's downright fascistic. It has spiritual control over your life. And so Karen's a product of that. So women are incredibly vain. The older are incredibly vain. And we've told our generational half-truths. We've chalked up lies. We've really confused the kids. Gen Z seems very messed up. Some of them have bought the lies. Some of them have rejected the lies. Some of them think everything is lies. Because we've used the lies to cover things up. It's the greatest cover-up of all time, except it keeps getting uncovered. A conspiracy is just 6 months ahead of the truth, apparently. Allegedly. Inevitably. You see, 3 things your speech could have done in a high-trust society. 1, it could have been currency. You could have given your word as surety, collateral. Our word could be in place. I'll pay for that. I got it. I'll take care of it. Okay, take it with you. Come back. That happens. It happens in small towns. It happens in little places across America where we still have high-trust society. You see, the culture war has ruined society. It's decimated both sides to our detriment. The next thing your speech could have done was been authority. In the same way that the boys in blue show up and are the authority when somebody in authority declares something. And we sure do love the boys in blue anymore, and I just want to remind everybody that the police are an arm of the government. The government can't be trusted to solve social problems, and so we kind of have to get on this one for ourselves. There was a great understanding in America that the American people owned the country more than any bureaucrat or elected official, that this was our land. And that underpins the Dukes of Hazzard, Cannonball Run, Smokey and the Bandit, was that the spirit of the country kind of came first. I digress. The third thing that your speech could have done, in addition to being authority, is you show up and do what you say you'll do, was that it could have been good counsel. See, if we can trust what you say, then when you say, I don't know, we can trust that. And when you say you do know, we can trust that. And all it takes is being faithful to your word. But what happens instead, I don't know if you want to thank the Kardashians, if you want to thank raising an entire generation of girls to be princesses. It's not all of them. We got to punch this video up, is what's done it. But self-aggrandizing speech is how we get to lies. It's the first step on cheapening our speech, nickel and diming it. Let me get my nickel back, and I missed that girl. Let me get my dime back. You see, when our speech dwells on how great we are and drums us up in the light we want to be seen, it's easy to slip into embellishment because we're trying to convey something that is there and earnest and true. It's real. Great about us. Real great about us. And so in conveying that, maybe we do let a misunderstanding slide. It usually starts as that, and then it's a misconveyance, a continuation with that detail as it's reaffirmed, until ultimately we're telling half-truths. And on repetition, those become cemented in the mind. But lies cover things up. How old do you have to be attracted to Pam Bondi? What's the age range on that? Let me know. Because lies and cover-up seems to be the department of the government that she runs right now. You see, Trump has embarrassed himself by putting a whole bunch of embarrassing folks in embarrassing places to his detriment. And many of these folks are quite vain. And vanity being a red flag and our first rung on the ladder we ought not climb, a sound thing to watch out for. There's some guidance. I'm not claiming to be wise. I'm claiming to offer a little bit of guidance. Here's an excellent example of a cover-up. Where is, got smoke for women, 25% of Gen Z? Now, excluding whatever exclusions need to be made to exclude those things that need to be excluded, for me to make this statement, wasn't that in service of vanity? That we couldn't be who we were? Folks becoming mothers. It's women. Women become mothers. And so we had to do something about it. The backside of my ladder is burned. It's charred, scorched up. Look at that. And there's a white flag of surrender. You see, because sometimes things that look good on the outside are the result of a series of schemes of fraud. I'm not sure what's going on with Tim Waltz in Michigan and Dearborn and all of that, and I'm not going to put claims. No, we'll wait for the facts and the information and for it to be clear that something fraudulent has occurred. Clearly. Now, ultimately, that perverts everything in the same way that the young men are perverted with apathy. They don't want it. I work the trades. The trades are hard. They suck. You don't always get paid. It's difficult to learn. There's not a clear-cut educational pathway. But those were a farce themselves. The idea that credentialism should grant you the opportunity to skip a first job. You remember we talked about Karen running a bunch of the young men out of the workforce, and they have a disadvantage. They're not attractive young women that can partner up with successful men. Women want a man. It's not a failure. They want a success. Many of these young men don't see themselves as having any opportunity to succeed, and so they do not carry that in their composure. Makes it difficult for them to attract a woman. Makes it easy for them to be trampled by a woman. They meet Karen. They meet the kind of woman that's dissatisfied with them. And they conclude that they're dissatisfying to women. And that there's something wrong with women. There are a litany of fine gals. There are plenty of nice women. And there are plenty of fine young men that don't fall into apathy. But yours truly struggled with that. And like I said, I am very vain. I have ruined many good things in my life in vanity. So where does that take us? Everywhere. That's right. Thing 5. This is a ladder. 6 things that I hate is that your feet just go wherever. You see this with the old. The old go with whatever works for them. Medicare, Medicaid, if there's a program that'll cut their taxes, the old have gotten together and gotten things together. For them at different stages in life, they've been politically active. That's something that the oldest of the old generation used to really be good at. They had bonds of brotherhood, community, fraternity. It's called alliance or Shriners. Those were important political avenues. Those were important areas. They created strong community. And strong community reproaches vanity and lying and all of these other things. But as we have become atomized individuals, individualists living in an individualistic system, separated from one another, as the idea has been presented in vanity that we can bring millions and millions of the entire world, everyone can come here right now, today, and it won't affect anything, even though the economy is largely economic exchanges of currency. And this affects that, because these people are getting currency and exchanging it. for houses and cars and remittances and food and all these other things. And that has affected the youth. Because many of these government programs that we provide for them are insufficient. A lot of these have been backwards means tested. And many of them are great burdens on the taxpayer. And very few people are grateful to the taxpayer. So, you've got older folks working in their twilight years with a suppressed wage. You've got folks that have come to this country, the land of opportunity, that are working entry-level jobs, and these young men are going apathetic. You see how we get here? It's a ladder to our downfall. It's the path to our undoing. Yet everybody rushes into every avenue, and so the young men pursue autocracy. The young women pursue feminism, or whatever is fashionable. And many leftist politics are a fashion that a person wears to show that they are stylish. The same way that you see somebody with tchotchkes up and down the wrist and a smartwatch covered in tattoos and vanity piercings is a fashion, and a questionable fashion sense at that. I often think that maybe women's fashion has gotten ahead of what men were maybe socialized to find attractive. If that should be a thing, if that should be a concept, I think it's going to take about 20 years to catch up with corduroy pants and a big chunky belt with a half jacket and this new hairstyle that's so popular with the damaged hair. But I digress, because everywhere you find gurus of bullshit. And you might think to yourself, Zach, does this condemn you? No, I stole this. And this is very sound wisdom. You see, these false teachers will advise you about hustle culture, about how right is wrong, how good is bad, how greed is good, how we all got here and what we did was right. Every decision we've made that's led to our downfall has been the right choice. Has it? Did it make sense to make the country communistic, to pervert the bonds between men and women, to pervert the bonds between the old and the young, to make things so outrageous that I have to come on here and present in this manner, in this cadence, to have the hope of being entertaining? I hope it is. I've filmed this like 500 times. If it's not, I'm deleting it. But these false teachers are everywhere. I would say that Candace Owens struggles with the truth, wrestles with the truth. I would say that Ben Shapiro does the same. I would say that Hassan Piker has said some things that are shocking. And Destiny, that kid's nuts. They're everywhere. They're not just in our political spaces. You can find this anytime you want to learn how to get big and go to the gym. And somebody will drum themselves up with half-truths and nonsense in order to be seen a certain way and live a certain life and do a certain thing. It worked for me. This is everywhere. It tears the country apart. 6, 7, the 6 things that I hate. Prideful eyes, lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart for wicked desires, perverse desires and schemes, feet that rush into evil, a false prophet that tells lies, and one who tears apart the bonds of brotherhood. 6 things I hate, 7 I detest. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Please go check out The Ripple Effect 1776. We're going to be doing a giveaway here on my channel. I don't know him personally. I watch as a viewer. I like his show. When he hits 150 subscribers, he's currently at about 132. So this giveaway will be upcoming. And please go check out Brandon Farley. Farley's A then E-M9T. Have an awesome day.